everyone. We're back for another episode of the Cup of Joe show. I'm Joe, that's Jeremy. I'm sick, so I'm sorry. But I actually probably sound the same as I usually do because I'm usually really tired at this point. I also apologize for our clashing colors. We don't call each other and say what we're going to wear. We just kind of end up coming over in purple and orange. I just feel like they're clashing. So sorry about if it's hurting your eyes. But we're going to go ahead with the show anyway, because it's what we do. So we saw a film, and it was Edge of Tomorrow. This is not the end. And it was very good. It was a thrilling movie, and it was really plagued by horrible advertising, horrible trailers that made you think it wasn't going to be the movie that it actually was.
Yeah, I agree. Lots of times we see movies that have advertising and trailers that are better than the movie ends up being. Godzilla! But Edge of Tomorrow is one of those rare movies that has the opposite problem. And it seems like the marketing teams didn't really know how to sell the movie, because it's actually pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not to say it's a comedy, but it has a lot of, funny moments. Some of which is, somewhat dark-ish humor, but, there are definitely funny parts. But I feel like the comedy and the action and the drama, it's all balanced out pretty well. Tom Cruise is good, Emily Blunt's good, has some, interesting concepts in there and whatnot. Also has, had a lot of fitting parallels to D-Day, since it was released on, or was it on D-Day or around?
It was actually on D-Day,
okay,
the 6th, yeah.
Yeah, so, storming the beach and all that kind of stuff. That was kind of cool if you're a history buff sort of person. But, yeah, it was definitely better than I expected, and neither of us would have seen this movie if it weren't for the good reviews and the buzz, but, yeah, it had good reviews, so we gave it a chance, and it actually ended up being pretty good, and I would recommend it.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know why I didn't pick up on that D-Day thing. That was a good pickup on your part.
I read that. I didn't pick it up.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, I mean, I should, considering I really enjoy World War II history. So, but anyway, yeah, it has a bit of a source code vibe, except it's better than source code. And I shouldn't have doubted Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is actually, I really like Tom Cruise, but ultimately I think that most of his movies, if he's in it, the movie's usually good. I mean, not great, but it's usually entertaining and it's worth watching. Except Mission Impossible 2. Don't watch that. It was the worst movie ever. Well, I wouldn't go that far, but it was pretty bad. But anyway, when Tom Cruise makes a movie, the movie's usually pretty entertaining. So, I mean, to put him in the summer blockbuster, action adventure, and exactly the point of the comedy of it, which the trailer really didn't show, it's just a fun ride. So, I thought it was very good, and I think that the trailer should have given more of that fun vibe instead of this, like, I don't even know what to call it, but I feel like the trailer was just so, like, serious and like this is not the end, I'm not doing that robot voice again. I don't know why anyone would be like, yes, this is, but like that, you know what, maybe that wasn't a bad song to put in there, or whatever it is. I don't know, is it a song, or is it like...
It's gotta be a song.
Alright, so, like, maybe it wasn't, but, like, it didn't fit that movie at all, and it just, like, takes you to this, like, what is this film? What it really is I'll do the advertising right now. It's a fun thrill ride where there is comedy, there is drama, there is action, and all of them are actually great. So I would go see it. I think it's too little too late for this film, as we'll get to in the box office, because the production budget's pretty substantial. I mean, not the most substantial we've seen, but it's up there. And the teaser, it didn't. The opening weekend didn't really support its production budget. But I will leave that to you, Jeremy, to share to everyone.
All right, box office time. Okay, so last weekend, number 5 was A Million Ways to Die in the West, and that continued to disappoint. It had a pretty small opening and still managed to fall a bad 56% to 7.4 million. It has just 30.4 million in total, and it's going to make like 45 at best, which is like several million shy of the opening of Ted. So that's quite the failure.
Yep.
Okay. 4th place went to X-Men Days of Future Past. That was down 53% to 15.2, and it has a total of just under 190. To be honest, I was hoping and expecting that this would, hold better, but I mean, it did open really big, and it's still doing way better than the last 2 X-Men movies, so that's a good thing. As it's looking, it's definitely not going to catch X3 The Last Stand. It might catch X2, which I think is around 215-ish, but that would probably be about the high end at this point. But it's killing it overseas, so it's making cash. Our number 3 picture was Edge of Tomorrow, and that opened to 28.8 million. That, again, as we touched on, I think just is the fault of the advertising. People didn't know what to expect from this movie. It just looked not that good. We just had Tom Cruise in Sci-Fi and Oblivion last year, and I don't think that was particularly good. I didn't see it, but you get that vibe. It didn't really have good legs or anything. So that's pretty disappointing. Yeah, production budget was 178 million. So, I mean, best case scenario, it's making like 75 million stateside, so it's going to have to kill it overseas to, turn any kind of profit. Mm-hmm. Which, but I'm actually, kind of rooting for this movie now. I'd like to see it do well because it was surprisingly enjoyable. Mm-hmm. Number 2 was Maleficent, and that was down 51% to 34.3 million. It has a total of 128 million. I was pleased to see this fall 50%. I was worried that it was going to have like good legs and make like 250 million or something, which would be horrible, but it doesn't look like that's the case. As it stands, I don't think it's going to hit 200. I don't think it can. So, I really hope it doesn't outgross Godzilla or The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I don't think that'll happen at this point, especially since Maleficent, for some reason, is kind of a family movie, and it'll be competing with How to Train Your Dragon 2 this weekend, so yeah, there's no way in hell it hits 200 million. Okay.
On its 16th birthday, it will fall into a deep sleep. Hopefully. It took me like forever to figure out that it was Sleeping Beauty. That was
well, I mean, there's, unless you're like a fairy tale person, there's like
exactly.
No indication. I mean, they don't even.
Yeah, I think it was like until I saw the trailer where she actually said that. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, I get it. Okay.
Yeah. It's it's telling the villain's perspective and story and whatnot. Yes.
We still won't see it.
No.
No way.
Okay, our number 1 picture was The Fault in Our Stars, and that opened to 48 million.
I told you. No, I'm just kidding. Jeremy told me, as he usually does with box office stuff,
want me to talk?
Yeah. When I'm coughing,
Okay.
you gotta jump in and just like say anything. Just be like Fruit Loops. I don't know.
Say anything.
Say
Where's
there
my
you go.
boombox?
I'll get you the boom. I don't have a boombox.
Damn.
Anyway, sorry. But that's the first coughing fit, and that wasn't so bad. So all right.
You made it halfway.
Yeah, we're halfway. Yeah, The Fault in Our... what is it? Is it Fault in Our Stars? The Fault in Our Stars?
The Fault.
The Fault in Our Stars. I know nothing about this film, but people went out to see it. So, I mean, it has a $12 million budget. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's already,
Yeah.
it's already profited. I guess that's the profit side. Anymore, it's profiting. That's it. And, X-Men Days of Future Past, yeah, it's disappointing that it probably won't get to surpass at least one of its, Last Stand. But
Well, it's destroying The Last Stand worldwide. So
that's what I mean. Yeah, it's making like $600-700 million worldwide. It's probably gonna get to 700 million. Right?
I would think so. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, it is exploding, and that's a good thing to see. As far as also interesting, Maleficent and the Fault in Our Stars, both female-driven films there, actually leading the way.
This is true.
Very, very interesting. I mean, very cool to see. I mean, I don't really have any interest in either of the films, but cool. Good for you, females. Way to go. Again, with Edge of Tomorrow, just poor advertising there. I am also rooting for the film. However, it'd be lucky to break even at this point. Although, I mean, it could overseas. I mean, the overseas likes that stuff.
Yeah, they really do,
So-
and it is doing pretty well overseas. But I mean, the general rule of thumb is you have to like double your production budget to really turn a profit. So that means it's going to have to make like $350 million. So if it makes 75 million stateside, then it needs 275 overseas.
Yeah.
That's going to be difficult to hit.
Yeah.
Not impossible, but
Right. Yeah, but other than that, A Million Ways to Die in the West. I mean, that was just fail from those. Actually, I mean, the first time I saw the trailer, I was just like, oh yes, and then like it just like the advertising just went on, and it was just like no one's gonna see this. Like it's just gonna fail, and you just knew it. And I mean, I saw it, and it was just like it was funny, but it wasn't Ted. I think at this point, Seth MacFarlane probably has to go back to, which, I mean, they're making Ted 2, I believe.
Yeah.
So, if he goes back to that, and that's a success. But I would say that go back to that for one movie, and then try to come back with something better. Not a Western, not something about the West, or some... about the Western time period. Make it intelligent humor. Come back stronger. Don't just throw out this piece of garbage and expect people to see it. But yeah, so that's that. Now we move into this weekend's films, which we have two big films coming out that have potential to make a decent amount of money.
yeah.
Let's start with the family film that we touched on, How to Train Your Dragon 2. I don't know if you know more about this than I do. So
Well,
I'm gonna pass it to you.
I haven't seen the first one actually, and I would very much like to because people love it. And
Yeah.
As I said in my June movie preview, I really enjoy good animated movies like this, and it seems like the kind of movie that's right up my alley. So I'll have to check that out at some point, and then maybe see the second one, if the first one is good, that is.
Right.
But the first one opened to 40-ish million, and then went on to make like 215. I think it's 217 if I had to put an exact number on, which demonstrated good legs. People really liked it. It's been 4 years since the original, so that's time to continue to build the audience and everything. So I just totally lost my train of thought. So anyway, Dragons 2 should do pretty well at the box office. You know, we can see some decent growth with animated movies like this, although they usually don't jump as much as other kinds of movies. I don't know why that is, but it happens with animated movies sometimes. Sometimes, like, you know, you see Kung Fu Panda, you know, the first one did really well. People they didn't love it, but they liked it, and then the second one came out and it just made less. It just did. It made like significantly less. It happens with animated movies. I don't think that's going to be the case with Dragons 2, especially since it has fantastic reviews, much like the first one. So it should do well.
Yeah, and I think that one of the advantages for it is that there's really, I mean, Maleficent. Yeah, I guess you could call it a kids film. I mean, I haven't seen it. I don't know. I would not take my.
If you're
children.
taking your children to see that, I question your parents.
I would not take exactly. I share the sentiments, but I feel that How to Train Your Dragon 2 is really the only kids movie that, I mean, that's really come out like before this in the summer movie season, and I don't think there's much coming out after it.
No, there's really not.
So I mean,
it's got the market cornered.
Exactly. So I mean, that's where it really has the advantage. So I mean, we'll see what happens, but I mean, it's all alone, and it's really there for the taking. So I think it should do pretty big numbers. We'll see how it matches up against everything else in the summer, but you know, unlike all the other films, I mean, how they're competing against each other, this one is by itself.
Yeah, it's true.
And, you know, even a month from now, parents are going to be like, what do we do? Well, we'll take them to see this movie because it's the only one in that we can take our kids to. So, I mean, I don't know. But I think that's definitely an advantage. The other movie coming out is not a kids' film at all. It's, in fact, rated R, and it's 22 Jump Street, the cleverly named, but purposely cleverly named 22 Jump Street, because it's really 21 Jump Street was really a parody. It made fun of itself, like, in the film, which made it really clever, and I think this has the potential to be really funny. I hear that it is really funny. I haven't seen the reviews for it, but
it's like low 80s, I think.
Okay, I mean that's great. So if it's anything like the first one, I think that 21 Jump Street was hilarious, and it was the funniest movie of that year. The year that included Ted, actually, which I also thought was really funny. But I really thought that 21 Jump Street was better and more amusing. So, I mean, if this is anything like the reviews and like people are saying, and this combo of Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill really works. So, and then you add pieces like Ice Cube and Dave Franco and whoever that guy is.
Rob Riggle.
Thank you, Rob Riggle. You got that from me saying whoever that guy is. I'm really impressed. All right, anyway, your thoughts?
Well, you pretty much said it. 21 Jump Street. I didn't even see that in theaters, actually, because I was so sick of the trailers, and I didn't think it was going to be funny.
That's true.
And then it was really funny, and I regret that decision. It's a very clever movie, very self-referential and all that. And it looks like the second one is going to just continue right on with that vibe. You know, they say that in the trailer. You know, that thing you did before, do that again.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
They know, but you know, they're going off to college this time and everything, so there are more hijinks to be had. The chemistry between Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum is fantastic. And who would have thought Channing Tatum was so funny?
I know.
But he's really good in that role. So, you know, I mean, we just saw from Neighbors, you know, a couple weeks ago. That opened to almost 50. So if that could do that, I mean, 22 Jump Street could be looking at a debut north of 60.
That's right. Right. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a pretty exciting weekend just to see how things roll out. So we will get to you next week. Hopefully get out to see one of these films, and I hope you go out to see one of these films, all right? So you can listen and enjoy. Have a good week, guys.